Hi everyone, my name is Garnette O'Connell. My adventures that happen, I finally know someone who can get those into books. Her name is Allison. I've always wanted to get my adventures written in books, and now that I know Allison, she can do that for me. She's going to be doing a book reading. It's part of a series called The Adventures of a Mermaid, and the book she's reading this time is called The Rat Prophecy.
This is part 9. Welcome everyone to my channel. I am the Esperanza243 and today we are doing a reading of a book that I absolutely love. Even though it's like super long and pretty complicated. The book I am reading is called The Rat Prophecy. It's a sequel to Aquatica, which I have already read on my channel. So in case you haven't watched that yet, you should go ahead and check that out. And if you're already caught up, that's awesome. I actually do have a couple announcements before I start talking about what happened in the previous reading, in the previous video of The Rat Prophecy, because, my gosh, it's really, this kind of news is actually really sudden and mind-blowing. I guess I am officially saying that my radio show is canceled indefinitely, which is really unfortunate. I really liked doing the shows, but I mean, looking at it now, it's just so stressful to keep it going, to figure out what I'm going to be doing for each show, even if the Fridays, like Mondays, I was doing like celebrating holidays that were going on, and Fridays I was doing book readings. Kind of like this, but it's audio, you know? So yeah, so my radio show is done. It's over. I'm going to keep the past broadcasts. I'm going to keep it all as it is. I'm not going to delete any of it off, but I am going to be uploading those broadcasts onto this YouTube channel for those who have no idea about Blog Talk Radio. So I'm actually really excited about that. And considering how long I've been talking about this, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the book reading. Oh my gosh. So, in The Rat Prophecy, in the previous book reading for The Rat Prophecy, it was kind of frightening. It was kind of frightening because we got to learn more about Ariel's past in part 7. And in part 8, we kind of have to watch or read Ariel going through this traumatic experience that she had of volunteering to look at the iridescent swirls in Miss Darla's Cove. So she's like shaken up about it. And Garnette is already there. She talks to Ariel and kind of asks her if she wants to stay in the ocean for the night or come with her to her friend's house of where she's been living. And that's kind of where things blew up. Ariel realizes she told her secret, a secret that hardly anyone knew, to Garnette's friends. Like, she can't keep a secret for more than a couple hours. So that takes her off. She swims off to this cave that Garnette had already been to, which was in the first book. And that was actually kind of cool. So she actually tells Ariel a little bit about the cave, even though Garnette realizes, even though I did break your promise, I'll stay here with you in the ocean so that I can be comfortable that you're here. So it's just really cool. And in the morning, Ariel wakes up, sees that Garnette is not in the underwater cave with her. So she goes to the holes that Garnette had previously described to her, told her about, because one hole leads up to a park, the other hole goes down towards the king's castle. Which is pretty convenient, huh? But Garnette also explains to her the park cave that they have, that's part of this whole thing, that's connected to the underwater cave, which is pretty cool. And it's just incredible because, like, Ariel is kind of in awe, and she's really proud, and she sees that Garnette is really proud of the accomplishments she has done with the underwater cave system, as well as the organization of this above ground cave. It's really impressive, and with all the pessimism that Garnette has, Ariel realizes what her problem is. She hasn't had a real adventure. And Garnette disapproves. Disagrees is the word. It's crazy. And that's actually where we're stopping. That's actually where we stopped and where we are starting right now. So let's go ahead and get to the book. You know what I think? You haven't had a real adventure, Ariel said. A real adventure? You call traveling to Aquatica, finding my family, and saving the city from impending doom is not an adventure? Her friend shook her head. She groaned. Ugh! Besides, I don't have the time. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you don't have the time. Jessie and Kelly told you to apply at the dancers. She gave Garnette a look. And that wasn't an adventure. It's responsibility to do something like that. And that's creating a home. And look where that got me. I turned into a mermaid by a spilt water jug, exposed as one too, and controlled by your jerk of a boss. What else could happen? Ariel sighed. Seriously, Garnette, you're such a pessimist. Garnette rolled her eyes. What else is new? Her friend didn't know what to say. I thought so. She sighed and scooted the crates back in place. She then climbed up the ladder to overlook their area. No one was around. Garnette put the block of rock back where it belonged and put the ladder away. She left the cave, and Ariel went after her. That's when Garnette looked toward the sun, but not directly at it. Uh-oh. Ariel, what time does your shift start? Ariel thought. Well, let's see. Today's... I think it's at 11. You better hurry then. It's past 10. And the club is at least a mile away. I got time. I can get there in 15 minutes. Ariel paused to remember something. Did you ever finish the application? Garnette shook her head. Not yet. She sighed. I'm wondering if I should. Go ahead and fill it out. It'll give you an excuse to see me during my shift, and we'll be able to come up with a better plan if you work there. I don't know. What if he figures out what my object is? What if he ends up controlling me? She fidgeted with her fingers, twisting and tightening. Come on! You can't be serious. Not only are you a downer, but you're a wuss. You can't live in fear like this, Garnette. Seriously, you'll get nowhere. Garnette bit her upper lip while she walked around. Garnette? She turned to look at her friend. Something happened when I left you and your uncle, didn't it? What did he say? He gave it to me, Ariel, she whispered. I have my object. Ariel gasped excitedly. Really? What is it? She asked with wide eyes. It's a silver locket with Karina's birthstone. Oh, goodness, it's gorgeous, Ariel. She put her hands on her chest with a sigh. I can't believe he gave it to me. Who's Karina? I think I heard your uncle say the name once. Her brows narrowed with curiosity. She's his niece. My ancestor. Garnette paused. If it weren't for her free spirit, my mom and I wouldn't be born. Avoiding the topic of Karina, Ariel continued their conversation. Did he explain what the powers are for the locket? I think he tried to, but he was mysterious about it. He was saying that I have to learn what they are with my instincts. That instructions wouldn't give the locket the sentiments I need. She grunted. It's gonna take forever. Ariel giggled. You'd be surprised. Instincts can take over any time and anywhere. Ariel turned. I better get going. I'll meet you there. She headed off to work as Garnette sighed once more.
Well, I guess I should fill it out.
She paused.
I can't let Ariel down.
She left the park and walked to Kelly and Jesse's house, since she kept the application there. If she was to fill it out, she knew she had to do it eventually. It took a while before she arrived. No one seemed to be home.
I guess they're at the church,
she thought. She headed to the kitchen. She made a snack and then searched for the application. It didn't take long. Garnette found it near the fruit bowl on the counter bar. While filling out that sheet, she ate her tuna sandwich. A random thought popped in her mind at some point. Garnette suddenly could not stop thinking about her cousin. After putting down the sandwich once more, she fiddled with her locket. She wondered what Marion could be doing. Was she cooking lunch? Did she make another new friend? Could another teacher be giving her trouble about her little cousin? Did it matter? Could she do something about that? She wondered more. She felt her eyes drooping. The more Marion stayed on her mind, the more she gripped her locket. Her head bowed down as her mind zonked out. Garnette opened her eyes. What? She discovered herself in the back of a classroom. Students sat in pairs behind long black countertop tables. They listened to their professor's lecture as they wrote notes. Garnette glanced around and spotted her cousin. She frowned. Why was Marion sitting alone? It wouldn't matter in a few seconds. She sneaked forward and crouched every time the professor turned toward them. None of the classmates seemed to have noticed her. She sat next to her cousin. Marion saw her before she stuttered. What are you doing here? She whispered hotly. Paper, she whispered. Her cousin carefully ripped out a page and gave her an extra pen she had. She wrote down what she could understand. Garnette gave her the paper. Marion widened her eyes as she read it. Lifting her pen, she was about to write on the paper. The professor then called her name. She glanced up with a deer-in-the-headlights look. Yes? Why don't you tell me how you would cook a yellowfish tuna? A yellowfish tuna, yes. She then told him the correct way. He shook his head. Marion narrowed her brows. What? That's how I've been cooking it, and that's what the textbook says. Yes, but you would take the scales off before cutting the head. You don't find it weird to have the fish's eye on you the entire time you're taking them off? She shuddered, as did some of the other students, imagining that scene. Not at all, Miss O'Connell. Marion sighed in annoyance. I keep telling you, Professor, it's tarleton. He scoffed and moved his papers around on his desk. Read pages 136 to 150 and do all the problems. Next time we'll be cooking. Class dismissed. Marion stood, leaving her things behind, and walked up to him. Professor? Miss O'Connell. Professor! She hissed. He glared at her. I don't understand why you have trouble getting used to my legally changed name. It's not O'Connell. It is Tarleton. While they had their arguments, Garnette observed the professor. He seemed angry about something. His eyes said so. It looked like he put the blame on her than the person who was to blame. That's when she recognized him as the sidekick who wanted to kill King Adelais. Yikes. She stood and walked up to him. Well, look who it is. He looked at her and gasped. Before he bowed his head, his eyes widened. Your Highness, he whispered. Marion widened her eyes in shock. Why don't you use that hatred toward the man who put you here? It's not worth putting the blame on my cousin. Please, don't tell the king. I won't if you stop treating Marion like it's her fault. That's not That's not why I treat your cousin the way I do.
Then what is it?
He looked at her with a sad expression. I'm jealous of you. They stared at him.
What?
She whispered with a dry throat.
Why?
Despite the blonde streaks in your natural brown hair, you don't get a tail by moonlight, reminding you every night that you're banned from the underwater city. He paused to shake his head. What I would give to be human forever.
You mean, all along, you've known I'm a descendant of a mermaid?
Yes, and I've tried to hint at that since you signed up for this class. Miss Marion, you wouldn't believe how many of us live on land and not the ocean.
I'm beginning to realize that,
Garnette said.
You've heard of the club The Dancers, right?
He looked at her and nodded. I've even met the manager. He's a madman.
Has he used the words "would you kindly" to you?
I don't think so, he said, narrowing his brows.
If you see him again, let me know. He uses those words to control you.
He raised his brows. That's interesting, he whispered. The professor stayed quiet for a moment. I'll use one of my shells to contact you.
Thanks.
She turned to Marion.
I'll see you later.
Garnette hesitated.
How do I get back?
Her cousin laughed. Think of home. You'll astral project back.
Astral project?
Garnette repeated, narrowing her brows. Look it up, Your Highness. You'll know what she means.
I will later. I need to talk to my uncle.
She attempted at thinking home. Garnette closed her eyes and imagined of Jessie and Kelly's house. That wasn't where she felt at home, though. The thought of her uncle and Aquatica entered her mind. She smiled. Her astral body disappeared like a magician hiding out. When she opened her eyes, she found out she astral projected to her uncle's castle instead of going back to her person. She chuckled and rolled her eyes. I should have known, she thought. She glanced around. Garnette, what are you doing here? She turned and smiled to see her uncle.
Nice to see you too, Uncle.
He laughed. I apologize. I guess I didn't expect a visit from you so soon.
You wouldn't believe what just happened, Adelaide.
He raised his brows. When he saw her neckline, he grew concerned. Garnette, where's your locket? She looked down.
I guess it's at home on my body,
she said, raising a brow.
I found out what the locket can do.
She grinned as the king smiled gently. Within time, she'll find out if it can do more than that, he thought. There's still more you don't know, he said mysteriously.
Oh, I believe it. That's not all that happened, though.
Her uncle raised a brow.
One of Marion's professors is a sidekick who tried to kill you in Aquatica. He's been treating her harshly since the semester started.
Wow, I did not expect that.
I know. The thing is, he doesn't seem angry about being banned.
She paused.
He is angry at the guy who was in charge, though.
There's more to this, isn't there? He wondered, cocking his head to one side.
There is. Being banned and not able to come to Aquatica has become a hindrance to live on land. It's made him depressed. He told me himself what he would give to be human forever.
That is interesting. Did he say what he would give?
No, he didn't. Marion spoke up to him. You know, after finding out he knew all along that she was a descendant of a mermaid. Garnette bit her lip. I was wondering if you would do that, actually? If he's not able to come to Aquatica, why be a merman at all? I mean, he would miss out on traveling the world without having to use money. But to not share with someone he knows? It was quiet for a while, as the king had to think. What she said did have a ring of truth to it. I will have to talk to him then. You said he's a professor? Yes, and he said he has shells, so you wouldn't have to go on land to contact him.
He cocked his head with curiosity.
I'll tell you how I know that later.
I think it's time you astral back. You did by chance catch me at a busy time. I'm sorry, Uncle. She scoffed with a laugh. I'll leave. She closed her eyes and thought of her person. The princess wanted to go back with all her heart. As her eyes opened wide, Garnette gasped loudly. She looked around. She was indeed back at Kelly's house. Garnette glanced down at the application. All right, let's finish this. Ariel needs my help. Later on that day, she was at the dancers. She sat in Keaton's office, waiting for him to come back. She kept her dark bag close to herself with little suspicion. Garnette didn't want him to know there was a small seashell inside. Normally, she wouldn't bring a shell with her, but she had a feeling her uncle would try to call. She didn't have to wait long. Keaton only needed to check on his kitchen staff. And that is where I'm going to stop. Whew! I'm already getting coughing fits because my throat is so dry. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this. And normally I don't bring it up, but I have arthritis. Surprisingly. Or I guess I should say not surprisingly. I was actually diagnosed with it during high school. Surprising. That is for certain surprising. And, but at the time it was inactive. But clearly it is active. I mean, it doesn't always activate on its own. At least not a lot. But it definitely does activate when I gain weight or when I'm unbalanced in more than one ways, I should say. Because I know I've been gaining weight. I have not been eating healthy at all, which is really unfortunate considering I need to lose weight. And I am actually going through quite a bit of personal stuff recently. Not just my radio show, but also just financially, apartment cleaning, and emotionally, as well as my job. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've told you guys, but I am so done with my job. I mean, I've been working at this place for a little over 4 years now. And, I mean, it's fine. This is the longest I've had a job. The shortest time I've had a job, I guess, would be probably just a couple of months. No, not a couple of months. Maybe 6 months. But, I just a lot is going on. And, as well as Special Olympics, I should say, because I had messed up on, my homework to finish my degree for ALPS-U, which is short for Athlete Leadership Program University. It's a really nice deal. It's a really neat university to go to. It only lasts for about 3 days, twice per year. ALPS-U, it's not just for Special Olympics Missouri. It's also happening in Indiana and possibly a couple of other states. And it's really cool because athletes can go to it and choose whatever degree they want to do, and they take a couple of classes of the same subjects, as well as you'd have to go to the website to check it out, because I'm sure I'm explaining this poorly. But since I've already kind of taken a class to become a global messenger, which is basically a representative for Special Olympics Missouri, I'm kind of already halfway through the degree. So, not this year, but last year I took a semester, and apparently I was supposed to do 6 speeches and I think a couple of other things. No, that was for a different class. But I had to do 6 speeches and I did not do all 6 speeches. I ended up doing 5. So, because of that, and of all the trouble I've had to do to try to get an extension, like, I didn't complete it. So, I've had to miss 2 semesters. I was really determined to go to the fall semester, but, like, because I have no mentor because I contacted my mentor and it turned out she couldn't go. And because she couldn't go, because I couldn't find anyone else to fill in as my mentor, they forced me to cancel. They forced me to skip the semester. Which is really disappointing because if I don't come up with the money, and if I don't come up with possibly a replacement, because my mentor is not here in town. She's from Boonville, which I don't mind. She's actually a great woman, but she's not local, which causes some problems for me. So, thankfully I've sorted a couple of things out with the person who's in charge of the whole thing. And what's really cool is that I'm actually in the management team of Alps U, which is really cool because I can give the athletes a voice. I can put in my perspective as an athlete into this whole thing, which is really cool. Which means I was the one who went to... Oh my gosh, no, I remember making a video for you guys about this, because I went to Indiana to check out the Alps U they had. It was so much fun, guys. Alright, I am talking too much. I'm going to go ahead and bid you all adieu. I'm actually really looking forward to the next book reading, because I'm going to be going back to alternating weeks. But the alternating week for the video you're getting next week is not going to be a different book. It is going to be a karaoke. Yes! Oh my gosh. I am so psyched. No, wait, not a karaoke. Sorry, not a karaoke. Lyric video. Because I've already done a karaoke last week. Next week will be a lyric video. I haven't decided which song yet, but I'll think of one. So, that is everyone. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am the Esperanza 243. Signing out. Man, I have so much to talk about. I basically need to do a vlog. Jeez.